One can get really
How are
glad
you,
we
Miss Catherine?
pretty good. Just glad we don't do videos of this as I look like a gremlin over here being like, and I cut this and I move this.
I can put
Over
the
here,
video up.
Trish.
That's not a problem.
No, no, no. It's okay. My hair is the greasiest thing I've had in like a while. I'm good.
All right. Well, it's Saturday, February the 10th, 2024. How are you doing, Miss Catherine?
I am doing pretty good. Depends on which version you're asking about. If it's related to work, we shouldn't go there. If it's related to writing, which we'll have to get there eventually, um, mentally or physically, I'm feeling pretty great. There we go. I'm great.
Good. You got your breathing illness under control?
Heck yeah. About darn time. Oh, they finally were able to medically show that I have asthma, guys. What? You mean I do? Like I wasn't telling them that I did this whole time, but whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. Well, my big news for the week is that I quit the day job.
Woohoo! I am
So,
very excited for you about that.
yeah, this is the first Saturday I've had off without feeling guilty about it in a long, long time because now it's not my problem to solve their whatever they've got going on is their problem.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I bet that feels good.
it does. It's
Probably
it's
feels
great.
weird
It
too,
does
though.
feel weird because I got up yesterday and I'm looking at the clock like I always do because I got to be at work at, 10 o'clock. Oh, wait, no, I don't have to be at work at 10 o'clock. I can just do the things that I want to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, when
So,
I had left one of my jobs, that was one of the weirder things, figuring out what to do with time, because you don't think about how much time you spend on something
hmm
until you don't have it anymore. A lot of people
yeah.
figured that out during like COVID and stuff too, where they're like, I have so much more time on my hands.
Yeah. Well, I've started trying to take steps to manage my time more effectively. I got a new tool last night called Motion. Oh, that's pretty. Since you can't see because she won't let me post the video, she it looks like she's
Thank you.
finished one of her
My boots.
slippers. Yeah, your boots.
For
It's pretty.
men's feet, though, this will not fit mine. It
Oh,
does fit
okay.
Trevor's because Trevor is the size of the people I am making these for.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I got a tool called Motion and I can give it tasks and it will auto schedule the tasks for me. I just tell it how long I think it's going to take and what sort of priority it is and what the deadline is. And it figures out when I need to do things. And so it's starting to help me do things like prioritize writing because I've built in writing time, and I've built in reading time. So yesterday I spent an hour reading a book that I wouldn't have done otherwise. I would have spent the time surfing, Reddit. Um, and I can build in breaks and I can.
Keep going, keep going. Don't mind me. I'm
Are you
very
okay?
ADHD. Yes.
Yes, I can tell.
Nice.
Um, but anyway, I built in time to do, you know, cleaning the bathroom and doing the dishes and, those kinds of things that I wouldn't ordinarily get done. But now I don't have to think about what do I do next. I just look in Motion and it tells me. And then if I change my schedule or if I add an appointment, or if a client issue pops up, then I simply add the issue to the calendar and it rejiggers everything else. So, um, it's a very helpful tool so far, and it replaces Calendly because it has automatic, booking for your clients in it as well.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
yeah, so that's like one less thing to manage.
Yeah.
I still have a little bit of trouble with it. It was overscheduling a um, an appointment that I have next week. It was scheduling something on top of it, and it needs to not do that because the appointment is a can't miss.
Hmm.
So I don't know what, what's going on with that. But I'll have to figure it out, you know.
Nice.
But I can reschedule tasks, or I can put tasks off, or I can, say, hey, so that's
Well,
what,
that's good.
yeah, it's very helpful. It's about $250 a year, but if it gets me to do the tasks that I want to do, as
Yes,
opposed to putting stuff off and not getting done my taxes, or all the other things, then you know then it's worth it. So,
that's very good.
yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, in order to sit through Jeff's entire thing, I needed to crochet. And even then I had to like get up and go like bounce around over here, which is why my camera kept going off. And for those of you who can't see us, I'm over here crocheting, but he just watched me reach across the room. So I leaned my chair all the way back and I'm wrapped in my blanket thing. So like I can't hook my feet on anything. So like I'm holding and I'm pulling the new crochet project over. And then he just watched me chuck a ball over my shoulder into the kitchen. So
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, look, a cat toy.
she does play with them occasionally. She
Yeah.
used to play with them a lot more than she does now. Mostly because all of her toys have catnip and the yarn doesn't have catnip.
uh that's
Yeah.
what's important. We have to know what's important.
Yep.
So,
But I'm very glad for you because I used to use, Google Calendar.
mhm.
So I'm actually getting back into that because I really do need to set back up a regular schedule and do things correctly. And I might go back into my crazy Google Calendar days of everything was color coded. And I think I've shown you pictures of what that looked like.
Yes, you have, and it
Like,
was it
like I
was inti
scheduled sleep.
it was intimidating. Um, but I've become a fan of the idea that, doing what's working is a good thing. And if it's not working, then you need to make a change. And what I was doing was not working for me.
Mhm.
So I need to make a change. And if it costs me $255 to play with it for 2 months and then find out that that doesn't work, but then I can go find something else that does, then that's helpful to me. So the thing that
Yeah,
I really like is the automatic rescheduling of stuff. So,
that is
um,
cool.
yeah,
That is not something I have.
yeah. So, um, you know, so this recording session was unscheduled. We took the opportunity to do it, and so I'm gonna put the time in there, and then it's gonna rejigger everything. So
Nice.
the other thing that I've been doing is using a product called Clockify, which at the level that I use it is free, and Clockify allows me to track my hours doing specific tasks. So I'm not tracking everything, but I am going to track how long I spend on the podcast. I tracked, for example, um, the the time that I spent on that client work that I did, um, so that I can get a sense of how long these things are taking. I'm tracking my writing versus my my word output, so I can get a sense of how much I'm writing. So,
Mhm.
the other thing that's helping me is that I'm doing Rachel Herron's 90 Days to Done, the
Yeah,
only
you
one
are.
she's going to do this year. And so it's forcing me to sit down and do the work, which the work is hard for me. The first drafting is hard, but it, it's, I paid a lot of money for that course. Um, she charges $1,500 for a 3-month course. It's a nice chunk of change. And so I want to make the most of it. And to make the most of it, I have to, sit my fat ass down and get some words out. And so I found a way to do that using my Alpha Smart. Even if I'm sitting in front of my computer, if I use the Alpha Smart and not the computer, I do better. I still get
Yeah.
distracted and I still switch to the computer, but then I can switch back to the Alpha Smart and I do better. So,
Nice.
you know, yeah.
That sounds like a cool little device. I
You want
first
one?
started typing. I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll get one. But when I first started typing, I couldn't actually look at the computer screen. You know how some people can just like type and like see what they're typing? I think I can do that now,
Hmm.
but I know if I think about it, I can't suddenly. So it's one of those for me. But like I've used to watch teachers who'd like look off to the side as they're like typing stuff, and I'm like, that is creepy. But I also could only type with one hand because I used to play the accordion. And when you play the button accordion, you usually only are playing with one hand, and it just became such like a I was much faster with just one hand. So like I can still type one-handed. It's great. I love it. So if I need to do something, I'm like with my one hand. And I used to be a lot faster with just one hand than I am now because now I've gone to two. But there is still like that. I'll look up and be like, wait, where am I supposed to be? Right, okay. And then I'll continue. So I don't know how that would work with an Alpha Smart because you can only see what, like 3 lines?
4 lines, yeah. You can
4 lines.
configure it to as much as six. So,
That's a lot. I bet that's tiny then because I know the screen is itty bitty.
yeah, the screen is not big. So it forces me to pay attention to it and it forces me to move forward because I can't do any editing worth a crap on it. Um, you
Good.
know, yes, it's good. And then to get the text into Scrivener, um, all I do is I plug it in using a standard, bog standard printer cable, and I put the cursor in Scrivener where I want it, and I click send, and I wait. And it takes a couple of minutes to do a couple thousand words. It's not super fast, but it's not slow enough that it takes hours or anything. And there's no importing, and there's no stupid third party program that I have to mess with. It's just the computer thinks of it like a keyboard, and it just takes keyboard input and it goes and it's done. You know,
Nice.
yeah,
Now,
it
how
is
is it
really
with
nice.
formatting though? Because I bet it doesn't format it like you would in a
Does not
Word.
do formatting. Nope, does not do
Okay.
formatting.
That would drive me
So
insane.
yeah, so it's just a text product.
However, I
So
wonder how much I could get on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do one of those test days where it's like, and sprint, go, and like see what I can do.
the other thing
That'd be
that's nice
fun.
about it, the other two things that are nice about it is it's small, so it'll fit in a backpack.
Mm.
And I was taking it to work in my backpack and using it at lunch, while I'm waiting on the restaurant to bring my stuff. And I would get a couple of hundred words on it. And a couple hundred words is a couple hundred words. And, the other thing that's nice about it is that the batteries in it last forever. It's a hardy device. It was designed for like third graders. And so it's
Nice.
designed to be hardy. It's hard to break.
Hmm.
It uses
That's
three
good.
double
That
A
would need something
batteries.
that would be hard to break.
Yeah, it only takes three AA batteries, and they last a long time. And then when you change the batteries, there's an internal, like a button battery that you have to open the case to change, but it's user serviceable if you have the screwdriver. It's no big deal. And that lasts like 5 years. So you change it once every 5 years, you change the batteries once every 6 months, the double A's, and you're golden, you know.
Yeah. Maybe
And
I'll see how much Sharon is going to get rid of hers for.
our previous guest Sharon Coleman, yeah, she's got one that she
Yeah.
doesn't use, so she might be willing to just send it to you. You never know, or she might. They go for about, if anybody's looking, they go for about $100 on eBay.
Oh,
So
that's
they're
not
not,
bad.
yeah, they're not super expensive.
Dear God, they should give them to kids now. I don't know if you've been around a whole bunch of kids with all their most schools, at least in my area, all have Chromebooks.
Hmm.
But the amount of times I've seen those Chromebooks hit the floor, maybe
Hmm.
they're making very solid Chromebooks at this point for schools, but the amount that I see hit the floor, or kids are into this huge thing where they swing the backpack off and chuck it at the wall and floor, and all you can hear is the laptop hit the wall and then hit the floor in the bag. And
Yeah,
I'm like, you guys know that like computers are expensive, right? And they're like, yeah, we'll just get a new one if it breaks. That
yeah, they're a
is,
couple of $100. Those Chromebooks, they're not
yeah.
super expensive, but they're a couple $100 for your mom and dad. Is a couple $100 for your mom and dad.
Oh yeah, because you're chucking it around the place.
Yeah, and they'll take away your Christmas presents for that shit. So
Hopefully.
hopefully, yep.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, no, I've seen some of them are very, very hardy because like I said, they chuck them into walls. I've seen them walk around and drop it straight out of their hand because it slipped out because they're holding it by the quarter. I cringe every time. It's great.
Children are awful sometimes.
Yeah, but
I
sometimes
mean,
they're really good. Like I went to a play last night for the elementary school, and now saying those words, you would think, oh, elementary school play? Hot damn, were they good? Like they all sang in tune. Not a single one like hit a wrong note. I was super impressed. I was like, you guys are 11-year-olds at most. I was
hmm.
very, very happy with like the play. Plus, like they did the play Annie. And
Oh,
so
okay.
some of my kids, were in it, so I went to go see them for that. But it was a good play. I was like, you guys did really good job. Like I now understand why you kicked us out of the, gym so often, so I'm not as angry, but like it was a good play for because they had all the kids did everything but the music. So they had a group that was there for the music section,
Hmm.
and the kids had to do all the lights. The kids had to figure out the clothing for the stuff. They had to do all of the stage like changing of all the stuff. They had to paint everything. So it was like they made the kids do all of it. So they all learned how to do it. And I was like, that's a cool way to do it. Because, kids should learn these things, I think. I think drama was great. Drama is great. It is such a fun thing to do. It's
Hmm.
Have you ever been in a play?
I was in some little bitty school productions when I was in elementary school, but we had, 8 kids. It wasn't real anything. It's just,
Okay.
so,
So
I don't have fond memories of that stuff.
it's like the D&D section where you get to like make your character in a way, but
Hmm.
your character's handed to you. So like you get to fit into the role of the character,
Yeah,
which is a lot of fun.
yeah.
And then just like watching it all go from I'm reading the script to dear God, we're acting the script in our hands to I'm not supposed to have the script, so I'm holding it over here while I'm saying my lines to we've thrown the script away and now we're just saying the lines. And now we're doing the motions and saying the lines and we're still forgetting everything. To like lights, camera, action. And you're up there and you somehow remember everything and you're like, yeah, sure, this was totally easy, guys.
Yeah,
Did not mess up once. And every play, there's like six mess ups. So it's great. At
yeah.
least. Where
Well,
the
that's
audience has no idea and they're like, oh, this was great. And you're like, I stepped wrong. Like,
yeah. Well, the next one that I'm going to go see is I'm going to go see Hamilton again. I've got tickets for Hamilton.
nice. Never
Um,
seen it.
yeah, it's interesting. My daughter did not want to go because she has a thing about not wanting to see stories about dead white men, which I can understand from a certain perspective. Dead white slaveholding men, which I can see from a certain perspective.
So that would
But
be everybody in the
uh,
beginning of our history.
yeah, exactly. But the thing that I observed to her and did not sway her with, apparently, was that the first time I went to see it, those characters were played by exactly zero white men.
Hmm.
The cast of Hamilton is very diverse, and if you look at the original cast on Apple TV, George Washington is played by a black man.
Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yes, I know, but that was interesting to me that they did that. I think the only I don't remember. I only saw that whole thing once, but the only white man that I remember uh, was Jonathan Goff, who plays the king. He plays George III,
Hmm.
and I think he stole the show. But anyway, so I've got tickets to see that again. I'm going to take a friend and her son. Her son is really really interested in going to see it, so we're going to take him to see it. We got some nosebleeds for $60.
That's
Um,
not bad.
yeah, I ain't paying $350 for a 7-year-old to go see that for floor seats. If it was just me and her, I'd spring for the floor seats, but
Yeah.
we're not doing that with a kid who might fall asleep.
Mm.
Um, but you know, and I've got tickets a to see a comedian that I want to see. He's next weekend. And then I've got tickets to see a band that I want to see, all before I leave for Australia. So
That's awesome. Look at you
that'll
go.
be,
You
yeah,
quit your job and life's looking up for you.
yeah, exactly.
I need to follow that.
Yeah.
I
So,
can't wait to leave the Y. I am very excited
well,
for the end of the school year.
you had an opportunity that I haven't heard the
Oh yeah.
outcome of.
So
So,
yeah,
so
so
tell us about this opportunity.
I had a job in, so rewinding. I went to go get my wedding dress. So I've picked up my wedding dress, got my wedding dress. But I had such like a wonderful experience with them that I was like, are they hiring? And went to go look because it's me and why wouldn't I collect more jobs? For those of you who know me, there have been times where I've worked 5 to 6 jobs at once. It's just kind of how I am. And yeah. So I went and applied and then I got an interview, which then got moved because they were busy that day, too busy to like do interviews. So I was like, okay, no problem. And then the person who was supposed to interview me got really, really sick. So they moved me again. And they were supposed to have moved me again. But one of the other managers was like, why don't I do like an initial interview? And if we like the person, then we set up the second interview. And they were like, sure, do that because I'm dying from the flu. So I went in, I was interviewed, and they really liked me. I really liked them. They might look at giving me a management position over time.
Ooh,
They're like, there's ways to move up because I was telling them, hey, I'm looking for a job that I can have growth and movement in. I would like to sew wedding dresses. I would like to, you know, sell wedding dresses. I think that's a lot of fun. And so they really liked me. I really liked them so far. And what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to at least start me off with weekends because that's what they're looking for to hire part-time for weekends. And then they were talking about how in June, there's a lot more management positions opening up. There's some full-time positions opening up, which works perfectly because in June, I will be fully leaving the YMCA because that is the end of the school year. My goal for the Y is to try to make it to the end of the school year. And my bosses, so I have 3 bosses. 2 of my bosses have thrown me under the bus this week to a parent. So they made it extremely difficult to stay. My third boss was the only one who had my back. So I was like, you are lucky that this third boss had my back with this situation, or I would have handed in and like an immediate resignation because I'm done with them. So like there was talk of me just not coming back after winter break because they have winter break starting Saturday, not next week, but the week after. So, but in my head it's like it's next week because I'm like, oh, I've got this week and then next week. So yeah, there was talk of me not, and I'd like had told my third boss, I was like, yo, I'm probably gonna hand it. And she's like, whoa, I got your back. No, 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 I will talk to this parent for you. She's like, I will handle this whole situation. Please don't leave me. So I was like, all right. So my goal is to make it to the end of June because I do enjoy my kids. It is not
hmm,
most of the time the kids that bother me. It's the politics of the job that
hmm,
bothers me. Where I'm
yeah.
like, why is this so disorganized? Why are half the things that are done seemingly very illegal at times? Like there's things where I personally would not send my kids to the Y. I am sure there are very good wives. I just think I have worked at the 2 that have not been the best. And this one down here has made the one in Plattsburgh look amazing. So like I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure there are some really great ones that run programs much smoothly. I know this one had some hiccups, but there's only so much you can blame on these hiccups at this point. where I'm like, you can't just keep blaming it on, oh, we had a situation and that person got fired and then we all scrambled for it. Okay, but that was 7 months ago. Like,
Yeah, that makes it. It's like at some point it's time to deal with the problem, and it's
yeah,
management's problem to solve. Yeah, I
yeah.
understand. So what are you reading?
Re- um, fan fiction, but that's about it. Oh, some webtoons. I got some really good webtoons going on, man. But that's about it. I'm was reading Don's book. I've got like 40-ish pages because he double spaced. So I'm almost at the very end of it, and I really do need to finish it because I told him I would finish it. And I do feel bad. It's just the YMCA has drained my soul, and it's
Hmm.
been very hard to pull myself up to like just do normal things. Like it's very, very draining. If you don't want to go to a job, and you know this, then everything else that you're doing feels like you have to like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and try to keep going.
Yeah, it's really hard. A draining job is really terrible.
Yeah.
And it saps you, even if it doesn't sap you physically, it saps you emotionally,
Yeah.
and the mental drain is just painful.
Mhm. And
Um,
that's the thing is that it's the mental. And writing, most people are like, "Oh, it's fine." Writing is mental. You
yes,
are using your brain. I don't know
yes,
if you have you ever done like the push for how many words can I write in a day till your brain hurts? I
yeah,
have.
yes, I
I got
have.
to 7,000 and that is my limit. And then I had to take a week off because my brain hurt. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I can do 500. I can do, if I know what I'm typing and I know the scene that I want to type, I can do 500 words an hour. And
nice.
with this class, I need to do, and my personal goal for my accountability groups is to keep the average that I need to hit under 1350 a day. So that means basically that I have to hit 1350 a day every single day. And it's
Mhm.
hard to do. It's really hard to do. And I'm not going to be able to take much of a break until, until the end of March. And so
Mhm.
I'm really, I have to conserve, and that's part of the reason why I went for the scheduling program, is that I
Nice.
need to I need to reserve the time, because
Hmm.
otherwise it won't happen.
Yeah, and I think
So,
that's something that I need to start getting back into is this is my time block for this and this and this. But it's like I'm supposed to be, proofreading Scandal's pen. My brain doesn't have the capacity
mhm,
to like sit there and be like, yes, this line is good. Yes, this paragraph is good. Cool, this chapter is correct. Moving on. Because the more
mhm,
stressed I get, the more my dyslexia will then kick in. So I could just be missing it anyway when I'm like looking through like, oh, I missed this one word here in this paragraph
mhm,
where it's like I missed two or like, those like little tiny things where I'm in that process.
mhm.
But if I'm too stressed, I can't sit down and do it
Yeah.
because I'm not gonna catch them and I might as well just not. So that's like where I'm at, which is really sad because I'm like really the scene I'm at now is they're going to be getting ready for the masquerade. Like it's almost the masquerade. And from there, okay, I don't know what you think of the beginning of your book, but I honestly, because I have looked at it so much, hate the beginning of my own book because it is the section that you stare at the most. It's one of the ones that you keep going back to when you're in the editing process to go through. So it really is the scene that you read and read and read and read and read and read and read the most. And I hate my beginning. Not that it's a bad beginning, but it's because I've read this beginning, even though I've changed it at least 15 times.
Mhm,
And that's like putting it kindly to myself. So, like, once I hit the masquerade, from there, I love my book. Like,
mhm,
I'm so like the middle portion of books is amazing to me. And they were amazing to write, and I love writing them. And it's getting through the beginning I hate. And so I'm almost there. And I know as soon as I hit that masquerade, I'll soar through proofreading. Because almost every chapter after, I'm like, yes, it's this chapter. And then I have to remind myself, you're like, you wrote this, good job. And it's great feeling, but getting to that zone, and then the fact that the lie has just been so draining has been there. And then I'm part of another writing group, and I'm supposed to have a piece for them, and I have to go through and edit-ish, not really fully edit because we're like a critique group. This one chapter that I'm going to send to them because I've given them the first chapter. And then they're like, we need a chapter before this. So then I wrote a chapter before it. And now I have to give them the original chapter 2, which is now chapter 3. And then remind them of what happened in chapter 1/2. So, so yeah, that's that's
Well,
where I'm
one
at.
okay. Well, one of the things that I've been doing is scheduling time to sit and read. And it's only a
Oh,
couple of times a week and it's only
I
for an
should.
hour or so, but I'm scheduling time to force myself to sit down and read some books and because writers need to read. And so I've been reading a book by previous guest Valerie Eson, her memoir You Can't Dance a Lie.
Oh,
Um, and
that's
so
wonderful.
yeah, it's a nice book and I'm happy to read it for her. And I've only found one error in it so far. So
Oh my
um
God.
yeah, I know.
It deserves to be there.
It does
All
deserve
right.
to
If
be there.
if
It's
it gets
perfectly
published,
fine. I'm not going to tell her about it. If Valerie, if you're listening to this, which I would be surprised at, you're not going to hear from me about where that error was. So,
watch her reach out to you and be like, "Where's the error? Where's the error?"
yeah, at this point, I mean, it wasn't enough that I even remember it. I would have to go back 60 pages to find it, and I'm not going to do that. So it's fine.
But that's
Um,
good.
yeah, it
So see,
wasn't
it
it wasn't
deserves to
that
be
big a
there.
deal. Yeah, it does deserve to be there. So I'm forcing myself to schedule the things that I want to accomplish, to spend more time reading and writing and to spend less time surfing and watching.
Yeah.
So, you know, um
My problem with the so I'm not used to driving to work, to and from, which is like
mhm,
strange to say because I am used to walking and I used to use that time to A, it was a bit of exercise, and B, it was my podcasting time. And I should probably just go back to listening to podcasts in the car, but I'm not used to still the drive of I have a 20-minute drive each way.
mhm,
That's a much bigger gap than even if I had to walk 20 minutes, I was within 2 miles of wherever I needed to work.
mhm,
So I walked. Didn't matter the weather because I didn't have a car, so we got to get to work. But it's such like a strange, I have to drive. So when I get out of work at 9 in the morning, depending on when I get out of the parking lot, because you're in a school and every parent in the world is dropping off their child and you're trying to move around buses. So by the time I get home, it's around 9:30. And then if I need a nap, then I've got that. That like I go into like take a nap as soon as I get home, because why take a nap later in the day? I'll just start in the morning. So let's say I get up by 11. I have to leave my house by 2:20 to get back to work.
mhm,
So like I've done the unwind of I'm not in work, so now I can do stuff. But then I have to like pause that. So if I'm in the middle of anything, I have to be like, whoop, we got to stop now because suddenly I have to get back into the mindset of I have children for the next 3 hours again. And then I have to drive all the way over there. And then when I get out at 6, because we have two kids who get picked up at exactly 6, which is fine because those two are the angels, which is great. Because if they were not, I would probably have quit it earlier. But like they're two angels. I could literally give them a toy and they will go play with themselves. And I'm like, yes, thank you. You are perfect. And then you drive home. So now it's 6:30. I know Trevor gets home between 7 to like 8:30, depends on the night. So it's like I only have a little bit of time and then I can hang out with him, but he also needs time to unwind. So then it's like, all right, well, see you later. And then we have to eat. And then I'm like, oh, I should be doing some stuff. But then I also know that I have to go to bed soon because I work and have to leave my house by 6:20 in the morning. So it's like this weird, I hate the Y's weird little time zone because I
Split
can't,
shift, yes. Split
yeah,
shifts absolutely suck.
yeah, because I can't
Yeah.
get enough done. And even if I wanted a second job, that split shift time is so awkward
Hmm.
that it's very hard to work another job
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
So, oh no, I went the wrong way. Oh no, no, I just started new. Okay, wait. No, I did go the wrong way. Ah, darn you. Sorry.
We're having a crochet problem, apparently.
Yes. Oh no, I was going the right way. Darn it. Anyway, so yeah, so like I really do need to get back into some writing and some scheduling. I'm hoping with the new job coming in and me slowly like giving shifts up from the Y and moving into the other one, that I can start setting back up a pattern again where I'm like, cool, this is my writing time. This is the time that I can do things. Even when I worked in Plattsburgh at the Y and we had to be at work by 6:30 in the morning, I could sit there for a little bit because I walked to work and my walk was 10 minutes. That I could sit and do some writing in the morning, even if I showed up to work early. There's no Wi-Fi at this school. It is so difficult to even get cell service in that building, and half of my stuff is on Google Docs. So if I want to work on certain projects, I can't. And if I wanted to hop into the writing room, because that really helps me, is to like sit in a writing room and be like, hey, peoples, I'm over here. So we'll see. I will
That's why you need an
reschedule.
Alpha Smart, because an Alpha Smart doesn't depend on Wi-Fi.
Maybe.
So, anyway, that's all I got for this week.
Yes, we'll have normal episodes out to you soon because somebody's not working a job and they have finished their client. So now we actually have time to do some recordings. And I will
Yes.
find time, don't worry. I do have time.
Okay. Yeah, we'll schedule it and
Yes.
and then I'll schedule the production time for the post-production and we'll get some episodes put together and backlogged the way we like, and then we'll get them out to you guys, and we'll resume production with episode 38 when we figure out what it's going to be about. So,
Yeah, and we've got to talk about some of the people I want to interview this time. So
yeah,
this season's going to be good, guys.
this will be good. Okay. Well, that's all I got for now.
Yep. Stay magical.
Bye.